another unboxing video for you today. This one is the final colour trend for 2019 from Tonic Studios, and this is the Blue Blossom colour trend, and as you can see it's these gorgeous deep blue tones and this gorgeous like peony kind of pink colour as well, and I've actually got everything except the paper pad, so I'm going to show you like every single thing, and I've also done some little swatches ahead of time to show how things have dried and stuff as well. And I have 9 samples, I think, to show you. So there's loads of different bits and pieces, like techniques and things that you can do with these as well. And obviously, as I've said in the 3 previous videos, all of the stuff within this colour trend is just new colours, not any new products. So any new products that have been coming out within the year always come out as a separate launch with the different colours in that range, but all of the colour trends are just pre-existing products in the new colourways. So I'm going to move this off to the side and I'll bring in each thing separately, I think. So let's go with the Mica Mists first. So we get 2 Mica Mists, one for each colour of the like this 2-tone colour trend. The pink one is called Pink Carnation. It's a really gorgeous pink actually, and the blue one is called Midnight Horizon, and it's a really lovely blue as well, really deep and dark. And if I've got so much stuff piled here, it's probably going to be like an avalanche in a minute, but the previous 2 pinks that have come out, these are the previous 2, which are Turkish Rose and Oriental Fuchsia, and this is the new one. So you can see it's more of like a pastel-y, bubblegummy kind of pink colour, rather than a sort of a more like orangey pink and maybe a slightly purpley pink. This is like a nice pastel pink tone. And then the blue one that has come out previously was this one, which is the Nebula Blue. So this is a really nice deep dark blue compared to that Nebula Blue. Really, really gorgeous colour. And I think I say this in a lot of these unboxing videos showing you everything. When you use the Mica Mist, I haven't actually sprayed either of these 2 yet. I was using oh, I've got so much stuff here. I was using these tiny little pipettes, and if you make sure you like shake up the bottle, then I was pipetting some of this out and putting it onto my Easy Clean mat and doing some cool techniques, mixing in other Nouveau products as well, which I'll show you as well. But when you're using these sprays, once you've finished using it for the day, you want to take this whole spraying mechanism out of the bottle and place the uptake tube in some water and then keep spraying until it's just spraying out clean water, and then put it back in again, because that just stops any mica from drying inside the spraying mechanism. Because if that happens, it's going to completely clog it up, and as soon as you go to spray it the next time, that mica is then going to move right up into the fine parts of the mechanism, and you're going to like completely block up the sprayer. You can use them, you know, as I just said, you can pipette the stuff out of the bottle, so it doesn't matter if you do block them up. But if you do keep strictly to, once you finish for the day using them, spraying them out with water, they do not block. As I think only 2 of mine, or maybe 3, are blocked, and they're some of the original colours. None of the other, how many have come out? Maybe 5 in the other 3 trends, and none of them of mine have blocked at all. There might be 6 actually, I can't remember, but anyway, none of them have blocked. So because I've been sticking to that, making sure I wash them out, and also before you spray with them, you can see here the pink one, there's nothing on the bottom of that bottle, it's all moving around nicely, but the blue one, you can't see the liquid moving around because the mica is all collected on the bottom of the bottle. So you want to make sure, you can hear there's a mixing bowl in there. If you shake it, then you can start seeing it's some of the mica has moved. Oh, I don't know if you can even see. It's a bit of a dark colour, it's difficult to tell, but the mica moves off the bottom of the bottle then. I'm not sure you can really tell on camera, but you can see in real life that you can now see the liquid moving in there. So that is what you want to do with your Nouveau Mica Mists, and there is lots of different things you can do with them. You can like spray with them, you can decant some out and you can paint with it. You can do cool squishy techniques like squishing your card into some that you've put on your mat or your Easy Clean mat as well. You can mix this with your Aqua flows. So say these were the only 2 sprays you've got, you can, obviously with the pink one, you could mix with other pinky reddy tones to create other versions of the colour, or with the blue one you could just add some water to it to make it lighter, or you could add maybe a lighter blue Aquaflow and add a tiny bit of this to it, or even maybe a green one as well, and you can give your Aquaflows a kind of shimmery effect too. So they're a nice versatile product really, and they're really great for art journaling and stuff if you like doing that, or your mixed media projects. Like Tonic have brought out quite a few mixed media dyes, and when I do the samples for the shows, my favourite like go-to one is to die cut a load of stuff out of grey board and then literally use their just their Kraft tacky glue, stick it all down to whatever surface I'm working on, or a canvas or whatever, add in other embellishments that I want to put in, and then literally just cover it all in gesso, either white or black depending what you want, and then I usually reach for these to be my like base colour, so I just keep spraying some of them, and if you want a more subtle look you can spray some water on it and the mica will sort of dissipate a bit more. Or if you want a stronger look, you can come back in once it's dry and spray another layer, then once it's dry spray another layer, and you get a really solid mica-y look as well. So loads of different ways to use them. Then we have a Nouveau embellishment mousse. We get one in this one's colour trend, although if you manage to get your hands on Tonic Craft Kit number 25, which will be out by the time this video is up, there was also an exclusive colour of Nouveau embellishment mousse that goes really nicely with the whole blue blossom colour trend, but this one that comes within the trend is called Poppy Pink, and it is a really lovely subtle pink. I've used it on a couple of cards, but it's a really lovely like a baby pink colour, really pretty and subtle. See, that kind of pink picks up alright on my camera, but anyway, yeah, it's a really lovely subtle pink. I really like that one. It's a similar, if you got the Honeydew mousse from the Merry and Bright colour trend, it's kind of like that kind of a tone and that kind of a light softness, but obviously a pink version. So that's the new embellishment mousse. Again, tons of different techniques you can do with this. You can use it thickly through a stencil, you can pounce it through a stencil thinly, like using a piece of cut and dry foam. You can completely blend it onto your background. You can use a brayer to apply it to your background. You can use it on the jelly plate, which I love doing. You can water some down and splash it on. You can paint with it. You can even colour this as well with your Aquaflows, or you can add shimmer powders to it to colour it as well. So say you only had one colour of it, like say you got the white one or something, you know, you can get loads of different colours of it because you can mix other things with it. The only thing is, usually with the Nouveau mousse, once it dries, it's dry, but if you add something that's water-based to it, like when I first got Nouveau mousse, I coloured it with Distress ink reinkers, and when you add something that's water reactive like that to the mousse, when it dries, if you wet it again, the colour from the reinker would come out, so that's just something to bear in mind. If you've added other colours to it, it might not be completely permanent when it's dry, like some of the colour might leach out because of whatever you've added to it, but that's the only thing you need to sort of remember. But that's Nouveau embellishment mousse, and that is the poppy pink colour. I'm going to come in a bit closer. Okay, that's the poppy pink colour. Then, what should I show you next? So we've got one glimmer paste in this, and we also have one glitter accents too. Now I think that glitter accents and glimmer paste are virtually the same thing, but they're just two different containers to keep them in. And I mean, it depends what kind of projects you like doing to which kind of container is best for whatever, like whatever way you work. But I find that they do work in a really similar way. You can spread both of them through stencils. Obviously this one is easier to apply in drops or more direct to something because you have the nozzle as well. But you can do this really cool squishy technique with it, and I'll show you some cards that I did using that cool technique. I kind of discovered it the other day. I was just playing around and it looks really cool, because you can add confetti into it as well. But the two colours are, so the glimmer paste is called Strawberry Champagne, and the glitter accents is called Ballroom Blue. I didn't do any samples of this, like just on little swatches, because they are literally the colour that is in the pot, because they're obviously in a clear like adhesive suspension. Let me just see. Yeah, you get 50 mils in both of these, so they're both the same size, same amount of product in them. It's just like two different applications of them. I do find with the glimmer paste, unless you maybe like put tin foil in it to kind of keep it airtight, once you get down to sort of more than halfway down the pot, you do want to make sure you kind of use it and don't leave it sitting for a while, because even if you close the lid, that much air inside it is going to start to make it dry out quicker than it like a full pot would. But you don't have that problem as much with the glitter accents, although if you're not very good at squeezing bottles, then the glimmer paste is probably better for you, because you can easily get a palette knife into the pot, whereas this one you're going to have to squeeze it out. It's not difficult, but maybe when you get more towards the bottom of the bottle, it's going to be more of a effort to squeeze it out the bottle. But so those are the glimmer paste and glitter accents. I hope you're enjoying the little bit about the products as well. I don't always do it for all of them, but I just was in the mood to today. So the next product, let's show you these ones next. So there are 4 of these. In all of the colour trends we've had 4 of the Nouveau Confetti glitter sequins. So we have one sequins, which again, like the other 3 colour trends that have come out this year, they're now doing mixed pots, so you get 3 different sizes of sequins inside there, which is really nice. And these ones are called Pink Tutu. They're really lovely. They've got like they're that gorgeous sort of ballerina pink, but they've got that kind of gold and pink interference-y colours on them as well. So really, really lovely. And then you get this beautiful one. It's called Rose Shell Blossoms, and look how beautiful they are. I don't think I'm pretty sure we've never had a flower confetti before. So they're really, really sweet, dinky little flowers. They're so cute. And again, you can use these shaker cards, you can scatter them across your card. You can use them with your glimmer paste and glitter accents, like I will show you on one of my card examples. Or you can just use them to embellish anything really, like cute little characters you might have. You might want to add some little flowers to them, or you know, all sorts of different things like that. Then on the confetti line we also have Bluebell Hearts. So these are really gorgeous hearts. They're a lovely deep blue, and then they have that sort of green blue kind of holographic-y interference on them, a little bit of pink as well. Really lovely. I've really been enjoying these hearts, and again you can use them in the same ways as the little flowers. And then you also get the matching glitter, which is called Bluebell. So you get the gorgeous Bluebell glitter, which kind of does have pinky purpley. It's kind of, yeah, it's got that sort of rainbow in it, hasn't it, when you twist it like that. Really lovely. I haven't actually used the glitter yet. I think that's the one thing out of everything that I haven't used. I've used every single other thing except the glitter. So but it's really, really pretty. Gorgeous, gorgeous. And it's slightly different to the glitter card that's in the Craft Perfect range, which is nice. So you've got a couple of different looks as well. So they are the confettis and glitters and sequins and stuff. Then we also get a glitter marker, which is called Pressed Peony. And they obviously come in their packaging like this with the blister around it as well. And when you get them, they have a like a light yellow kind of colour tip to them, and all you do is I tend to shake it, and then I push it down on my mat. So you push the nib inside the pen, and then I shake it again, and then you might have to shake it a couple of times, but you should see the ink wicking into the nib of the pen, and this is the colour that it comes out. And I also dragged it out with a water brush as well. So obviously when you drag the colour out, the colour gets lighter, but also the sparkle gets more, or like less intense really. So that is what the gorgeous glitter marker looks like. Loads of different techniques you can do with these as well. You can just colour with them. You can edge your card with them and give a nice sparkly effect. You can use them in conjunction with your aqua flows and like watercolour with them. You can stamp with them, which I really like doing. You can use them on the jelly plate as well if you want to. If you don't mind getting glittery stuff on your jelly plate, then you can use them on there. You can scribble them on your glass mat, water them down and splat them onto your card as well. And you can even ink blend with them too. I think maybe the only videos I've done with the ink blend. Oh no, maybe I did. I think there was a video I put up called like background techniques with the Nouveau glitter markers. There's lots of different ideas in there that you can do, and I think I did show the ink blending with them then as well. So loads of different things you can do with the gorgeous glitter markers. Then we get 2 embossing powders. I really like these embossing powders. This pink one is called Pink Popsicle, and it's a really gorgeous glossy pink colour, and it actually has tiny darker granules in there. I think it was the sunflower yellow that came out with the Woodland Walk was similar to this, with those kind of tiny little darker flecks inside it as well. And then this one is called Duchess Blue, and it is a really deep, rich blue, and it is kind of metallic. At first when I used it I didn't think it was metallic, but then when I heat embossed a larger area it does look a bit metallic, so it's kind of a subtle metallic colour. And the swatches are here. So Pink Popsicle, you can see, is a gorgeous glossy pink. You can kind of see those little speckles of darker pink in there as well. And then the Duchess Blue, you can see there it's sort of got that mica shimmer to it. I still can't completely tell if it is just glossy or if there is a mica to it as well. But so it's a very subtle metallic-y one, I'd say. But yeah, really, really pretty, gorgeous. I do really love that one. It would be good for like as an alternative to black as well. If you were doing more of a cool toned card, maybe you don't want the harsh black. That kind of a colour would be really lovely. Embossing powders, again, loads of techniques you can do with embossing powders. You can use obviously in the traditional ways, you can use them with your clear mark ink pad and stamp with a stamp and then sprinkle the powder on. You can do like the ultra thick kind of techniques with the Nouveau powder. I've done that before quite a long time ago, but it does work. You can do the triple heat embossing with them. You can do triple heat embossing and then press a stamp into it as well. They even work when you know like when you want splattering across your card. You can splatter with a bit of water on a paintbrush, tip this over it and then heat it quickly, and you'll get sort of splatters of embossing powder as well. Yeah, so loads of different techniques you could do with embossing powder too. So that's those. Then we also get the brand new Blue Blossom Aqua Flow colours. One of these is like a really bright colour. This pink lemonade is really vibrant, but you can easily water that down with a water brush as well and make that more of a subtle colour. And then Cameo Pink is really lovely, and then Blue Velvet is really dark, but that was pulling it out with the water brush to give it a lighter blue tone. But that Blue Velvet is going to go a long way because I can't remember what video I said it in, but I fill up my aqua flows with distilled water to make them go further. So once they've got halfway down, I'll fill it up again. So it does dilute the colour and make it a bit lighter, but it means that you can keep using them for longer. But with that Blue Velvet one, I reckon you can do that refilling like 2 or 3 times and still get a really nice blue out of it as well, and with the pink lemonade too. So the darker colours are good to go for because you can use them full strength for a little while, and then as they're starting to run out a bit, you can fill them up with distilled water and then keep using them just as a lighter colour tone. And loads of different things you can do with aqua flows. You can do just general watercolouring. You can watercolour directly from the pen, or you can squish the pen out onto your glass cutting mat, pick it up with a water brush, or with either of the aqua shimmers as well. You can pick them up with them and watercolour with that. You can stamp with aqua flows as well. You can use them through your stencils. You can use them on the jelly plate. You can use them really intensely, or you can use them really washed out as well. So lots of different ways of using those. Then we also get the ink pads. I love these ink pads. I mean, I just love tonic ink pads in general. I put that one in the wrong way around. But anyway, these are the 3 colours. So that Raspberry Smoothie is a gorgeous, like, dusty kind of pink colour. Midnight Surf, really gorgeous, like petrol-y kind of a colour. And then Siren Blue is really lovely as well. And they're really more like muted dusky tones to go within the collection, which I really love, because I do love bright colours, but sometimes you want a slightly more muted pink or a more muted grey blue colour, so it's really nice to have those in the collection as well. There's now been 24, I think there's been 24 little baby ink cubes now, or if you've had some of the craft kits, they've brought out like smaller versions of some of the larger ink pads as well, because there's 7 larger ink pads, including the clear ink pad as well, so you might have slightly more than 24 little cubes if you've had the craft kits as well. But again, I keep saying this for everything, loads of different things you can do with these, but I love that the Nuvo ones, because they're a hybrid ink, so if you got fed up of stamping with black and grey and brown for your Copic colouring or your alcohol marker colouring, you can use any of their colours to stamp your outline and then colour them in. So like if you wanted to do that kind of no line colouring effect, with a gorgeous pink peony flower, you could stamp it with the pink and it's got a pink outline, so you're not going to notice the outline as much as if you stamped it with black. You can do direct to paper kind of techniques like I've done here just to show the swatches. I like swiping a stripe of it down my card as well, to sort of give a border feature. Obviously you can just stamp with them too. I've got a card that I've just stamped some gorgeous flower images with them, and those colours go really nicely together as well as a nice colour palette. You can squidge them onto your glass cutting mat, spray some water on them and flick them with a paintbrush. It does kind of go a bit weird because obviously they're not water based, so the ink kind of looks a bit weird, and you don't want to leave that in your paintbrush, you want to wash it out quickly. But it does work, so if you had been stamping in one of these colours and you really wanted some splashes in the same colour, it does work. I think they dry too quickly for doing any embossing techniques on them, but because of their hybrid nature, you can stamp a whole background and then come back in with your aqua flows or your glitter markers and do like a watercolour wash over them as well. So they work with aqua flows, glitter markers, your watercolour pencils, your alcohol pens. They like work with everything, which is brilliant. So they are the Blue Blossom ink pads. Then we also have some more alcohol pens. So we have Flamingo Pinks. These are really lovely pinks, and they actually fit in. The previous pack of pinks was called Rosy Pinks, which was in the original release of Nuvo alcohol pens, and these actually slot within them. So the original colours were 449, 451, 453, but these ones are 450, 452, 454, so they actually slot in between the colours, and you've now got like a proper selection of pinks, so you can really get a nice blend of your pinks. So again, if you stamped with that raspberry smoothie, like a peony flower, and then you colour it with your pink tones, if you have both of the older pinks and these gorgeous new flamingo pinks, you've got a really lovely selection of pinky tones and sort of more corally pink tones as well. So they fit in really nicely in that colour family too, which is really great. Because I think pinks and purples are two of those really difficult colours to get a really nice seamless blend between. Blues and greens and yellows and oranges and reds, usually the alcohol pen ranges have really good blends between them, but pinks and purples often seem to be a little bit tricky. I suppose it's because there's so many different undertones, like you can have a more bluey purple or a more reddy purple or a pinky purple, or with pinks you can have a grey pink, you can have a fluorescent pink, you can have an orangey pink, you know, there's loads of different varieties. But I think this set is a really lovely set of pinks. If you haven't tried the Nuvo alcohol markers before, the way they come in a set of 3 really makes the blending easily, and this set of pinks is absolutely perfect for your blending as well. So that is the alcohol pen set, and again you can use them with the hybrid inks because they work with both kind of things. You can use them to create backgrounds with, which I'll show you on some of my cards as well, because I love creating like stripy backgrounds, plaid backgrounds, even circle and heart backgrounds as well, just doodling with your alcohol pens. I really love that. Yeah, so loads of different things that you can do with those. Then we also have a new shimmer powder, and this one is called Meteorite Shower, and it is really pretty. So I did a little dried sample of it. It kind of merged into one colour, but you can see how the mica was like floating on top of it, and the way it's dried in that really like organic kind of, and it kind of looks like a galaxy. So I guess Meteorite Shower was a really good name for it, because that does kind of look like some kind of galaxy with the little clusters of metallic stars in it as well. But I wanted to show you this just live too, because it's really, really pretty, and it looked like magic when I was using it yesterday, because you sort of, I tapped it in, and then all of a sudden the little puddle, the little pile would like burst into the puddle and look really pretty. So I'm going to put a bit of water underneath my card, and then water on top of the card. And you can do as much or as little water as you want, but look what happens when you tap it in. Look at all those colours that come out. It looked more impressive yesterday, because I think I managed to get like, yeah, like that. The way it just sort of one little blob. It's really cool. Look at how magic that looks. And then depending on the kind of flatness of the surface that you've left it on, you might still get all of these pinks and blues and blacks and purples inside, like on your background dried, or it might all merge together and give you that lovely, more of a deep dark blue with little bits of purple and stuff in it. But it has all of these gorgeous colours within it, which is really lovely, and you can use it as heavily or as light-handedly as you want. But look how magic it looks. I really love this one. Really, really pretty. And if you've never tried the Nouveau Shimmer Powders before, this looks like you've used about 4 or 5 of the existing colours. I mean, the colours in that, it looks like Storm Cloud, Cherry Bomb, Blue Blitz, and then maybe even a bit of Violet Brocade or Lilac Waterfall as well. So it looks like 3 or 4 different shimmer powder colours, but it's just in this one. So you know, that's a really good one to go for as well. Just like the Golden Sparkler that came out with the Woodland Walk collection, and the Lunar Silver actually that came out with the Merry and Bright too. They're all really good ones because they've got lots of different colours in them, so it looks like you have multiple bottles of them, but you just have the one. But you can get really cool effects with them too. And you can see how if you move it around with the water, you're going to get more of a single colour tone. But if you say you'd taped your card down and you left it to dry, you'd probably get more of the separate colours drying in there, because the water wouldn't spread back over it. But I just wanted to show you that live as well, because I really love that one, really, really do. And there are lots of different things you can do with a shimmer powder as well. I can't remember what kind of videos I've done on them. I think maybe I did one with different background techniques. I've used them in quite a few videos, but you can do really cool things with stencils, which I'll show you on a couple of the cards that I've done. You can use these in shaving foam and give really cool effects. If you're not too good at getting crisp, clean stencil designs, if you take some of the shimmer powder, mix it with shaving foam, and then scrape that coloured shaving foam through your stencil, lift the stencil off and leave it to dry or like evaporate, you'll have a perfectly perfect stenciled design left behind, and it obviously will have a little bit of shimmer in it as well from the shimmer powder. Or again, if you just want a little bit of subtle colour or subtle sparkle on the card, you can water it down and splatter it on your card. You can just use it as if it was a watercolour as well. You can just mix up some up and use it with a paintbrush to paint in designs. You can do stripy backgrounds. I do love doing that with my shimmer powders as well. Lots of different things that you can do with it, and you can obviously add a lot of water and make it a really light tone too, rather than having to keep it a sort of deep blue. You can add a lot of water and get a more of a subtle effect with it as well. So then the final part of the Nouveau part of the Blue Blossom colour trend are 4 Nouveau Drops. So in each of the colour trends this year we've had 4 Nouveau Drops, so that's been another 16. Is 4 times 4 16? I think it is. So that's 16 new Nouveau Drop colours we've had this year, and in this collection we get another dual drop, which is called Steel Blue. We get a gorgeous gloss drop. I really like this one. I actually wanted this colour the other day and I didn't have this then, and I hadn't really paid attention to what colours were coming out in the Nouveau Drops, but this is gorgeous. It's like a china blue, and it's called Blueberry. It's really, really gorgeous. It would go really nicely with like shaded lilac kind of colour from the Distress line as well. And then you get two pink ones. You get a glitter one, which is called Enchanting Pink. It's a really lovely subtle pink. And then this one, which you also got a baby one of in the Tonic Craft kit, number 25. And this one is a metallic one, and it's called Shimmering Rose. And it's a really gorgeous baby pink. Goes really nicely with the embellishment mousse and the Mica Mist as well. And the embossing powder too, actually. And I did do little swatches to dry of all of these. So Steel Blue is that, obviously that dual drop, and it's like clear but with a slight, well, more of a hint of colour than some of the others actually. It's kind of like a deeper dual drop, which is great. That Berry Blue, really, really, really pretty. I really like that one. Enchanting Pink, that is the pink tone. And then the Shimmering Rose has that gorgeous metallic finish to it as well. So that is everything from the Nouveau part of the Blue Blossom colour trend. I'm now going to show you all the Craft Perfect, and then I will come back and show you the 9 samples that I've done using everything as well. Okay, so this is all the Craft Perfect cardstock from the Blue Blossom colour trend. If you got Tonic Craft Kit number 25, you got 1 sheet of each of these, so you got a little taster of what all of the cardstocks are like, but I wanted to run through them in this video as well. So you get 1 classic card, which is this gorgeous Ballet pink colour, and their classic card is the texture, like the linen texture on one side, and the other side is smooth. Even though you can see that texture a little bit, it is actually smooth. And it's gorgeous, gorgeous pink colour. And their classic card actually comes in A4 and 12 by 12. I think they're around the same price. Maybe this is £2.50 and this is £2. But the A4 version you get 10 sheets, but the 12 by 12 you get 5 sheets. So if you're a scrapbooker, obviously you want to go for the 12 by 12 because you can create your whole background page from this cardstock, but if you're a card maker you can go for either really. I suppose it's just storage, because I mean A4 card tends to be easier to store because you can have like magazine racks and they're usually for an A4 kind of size of card. But if you want the bigger card, they do it in, I think, all of their classic card, or maybe it's only the like 8 colour trends that have come out over 2018 and 2019. I'm not sure if they did the 12 by 12 before that, but it is available in 12 by 12 if you want it too. So that is the classic cardstock in Ballet Pink. Then I tried to put these in some kind of an order. So this is like stepping up the speciality all the way through this pile. So the next one is Pearlescent Cardstock. I really love their Pearlescent Cardstock because it has a coloured core and it is double-sided. So you know, you can use either side of it. Like say you got a smudge on one side, you can turn it over and use the other side. Or if you're doing like a Christmas decoration, for example, and part of the cardstock is going to be seen on the other side, but you don't want to have to cut a whole nother piece, this would still be pearlescent on the other side. So you know, there's an advantage of having a double-sided cardstock as well. And this colour is called Princess Pink. And you get all of these specialty ones, you get 5 sheets in the packet rather than the 10 that you get with a classic. But this is a gorgeous pearlescent finish on it. It does almost look like you've just spread your Nouveau embellishment mousse over the cardstock, but obviously it's much quicker because it's already done for you. And it is a slightly different pink to the Nouveau mousse, the poppy pink one as well. But this is the pearlescent cardstock, Princess Pink, really gorgeous pink tone. And then we have, this is really lovely, I do really like this one. This is the Blue Obsidian. When I was die cutting this, I cut a sentiment out of it, which I'll show you on, I'll just show you it now actually. But it almost has purple in it as well. I don't know if you can catch it on camera, but like near that T and on the L, it actually has purpley tones in it. So I was just using it on this card that I'd used the shimmer powder on, and I was like, oh, once I die cut it, I was like, oh, it's got little purple bits in it as well, but you don't see that on the actual sheet of it, which is really unusual. So I don't know if that was just a fluke or whether it does actually have the purple in it, but that is the gorgeous colour. Sorry, it's not really focusing, it's not really got anything to focus on. But that's the gorgeous blue colour, and it's called Blue Obsidian, and this is the satin effect mirror card, and it's white on the other side, but it cuts really nicely and gives that gorgeous bevel, which obviously shows off that satin effect even more as well. Then we have a glitter cardstock, and this is different glitter to the pot of glitter. So the glitter cardstock it's kind of got black, blue and silver in, whereas the glitter, it does look similar there actually, but it hasn't really got any silvery tones in the pot of glitter that goes with this colour trend. But this is really, really pretty, and the glitter cardstock, you can cut your fine detailed sentiments out of it as well, which I'll show you on one of my cards, and this is called Cobalt Blue, but it's really lovely, and it's that non-shed kind of a cardstock, so literally you get like one or two little bits of glitter coming off of it, but it still feels like glitter, but you haven't got the mess of all the glitter everywhere. But yeah, die cuts really nicely with detailed dies, which is brilliant. So that's the glitter cardstock. Then this one is gorgeous. This is their foiled craft card. So originally they came out with 8 packs of this. You had gold foil on brown craft card, gold foil on black craft card, silver foil on grey craft card, and rose copper on white craft card. So in the last colour trend we had an extra design of the silver on grey craft card, and for this Blue Blossom colour trend we have got rose gold posies, so it's the same rose gold on white craft card as the 2 other designs, and they were tiny little hearts and the triangular pattern as well, so they will all go really nicely together. And also the sun-kissed copper Nouveau gilding flakes go really perfectly with this colour of foiling, and there's a satin mirror card and a glossy mirror card that both go really nicely with this. I can't remember their names off the top of my head, but yeah, so lots of things to coordinate with this gorgeous foiling as well. I really love this pattern too. Really, really, really pretty. I hope they bring out some stamps like this. They look really gorgeous. Okay, so that is the rose gold posies. Then this one is also really, really pretty, and it's called Navy Toil. And there's been, I think this is like a proper staple in the Craft Perfect line. I think it's like a really popular pattern, because there's been quite a few different colour versions of this throughout the years, and I think the first one was a white one, but now we have this gorgeous navy one, and it's like etched roses into the cardstock. It's like their pearlescent card, but it's one-sided, but it's got that etched look of the roses, and it's a slight texture to it. Not really, you would think it would be more textured than it feels, but really, really gorgeous. I mean, you could even use, this is the kind of cardstock you probably don't want to do a whole matte and layer from, because, you know, you're not going to see much of it or you're going to waste part of it. But I think paper piecing with this, obviously not something that's really tiny, but sort of larger shapes for paper piecing, because you'd see parts of this design. I think that would look really pretty for that. So that is the Navy Toil speciality card. And then we have 2 of their cotton papers. I really like these. They're really unusual, but when you feel them, you're thinking, oh, that's not really going to die cut very well, but they do. They really do die cut well, and they have this texture within them, but it doesn't get squashed when you're die cutting. If you use one of those kind of dies, you know, that it has solid metal, like it's a proper solid piece of metal with no hole in the centre, that might squash it a bit, but the majority of tonic dies are like have holes in them, and well, like they're outside dies. So say you cut the outside of the Thanks for Everything, the bubble, the cutting line is actually on the inside there, so that you wouldn't even squash this at all, even on the edges. You'd still get that pattern all the way to the edge of your die cut, which is perfect. And the two colours of these are Midnight Sky, which is another one of Tonic's really popular designs. We had a like a shiny metallic red version in the Merry and Bright collection, I think that's what it was in, and it was on black like this one is, but this is a gorgeous pearlescent blue tone, and there's also been a different red one and a white one, and there might have been more over the years as well. And then this one, I recognise this pattern from before as well. I think we've had a light brown one in a craft kit at some point, and this one is called Pink Petals. I think that maybe there was a blue one with one of the colour trends from 2018 as well. Yeah, really gorgeous pattern. And I mean, imagine this using a circle die and centering that middle flower and having that as a mat or a layer on your card with a sentiment across it. Really pretty. So those are the last two of the Craft Perfect as well. So I will now get all of my samples out to show you too. Okay, so I went a bit overboard with the samples. I was supposed to be making 3 and I now have 9, I think. So yeah, it's quite addictive colour scheme, but these two were actually ones I made using the Tonic Craft kit. There was a triangle die in that set, and this one was supposed to be the handle for the lantern. So there'll be a video up of me making these cards as well, but I thought I'd just throw them into this video because they're using all of the Craft Perfect cardstock. So there is 8 different types of Craft Perfect card, and I've used 4 of them on this one and 4 of them on this one, and you can see how well the cotton papers die cut. You see you've hardly lost any of that texture on them at all, and having little pops of that metallic in there as well. And behind that thanks there, that is the other mirror cardstock that Tonic do that matches that gorgeous sun-kissed coppery kind of a colour. And then I've also used the Sequins and the Shimmering, what was it called? I can't remember the name. Shimmering Pink or something. The little Nouveau drop as well, just as an accent on that. So that's showing 4 of the different ones. You've got the pearlescent, you've got the textured, you've got the cotton paper, and you've got the foiled craft card. And then on the other one, I used the lantern handle and I actually wove them into each other, which I thought was a really cool thing to do. And I used the glitter card, I used the metallic satin card, and I used the Toil one as well. So you can see a little bit of that rose pattern sort of popping up on those strips as well. And I even used the textured cotton paper. It did squash it a bit because I think that die was solid, but so you can see what I mean about having a solid metal bit over the top. It does squash it, but it does look really cool still. You still get the pattern. It's not as textured, but you do still get that cool pattern. So that is mostly using the Craft Perfect. Most of the other ones are focusing on all of the Nouveau range, because I kind of got overexcited about making backgrounds and ended up making loads of them. So this one is using the Meteorite, was it called Meteorite Shower? Yes, Meteorite Shower Shimmer Powder, and this is using one of the new stencils from Tonic. This is their Falling Snowflakes stencil. I really like this one, and this was doing the positive and negative technique with it. So you lay your stencil down onto your card, this was on this one, you spray it with a load of water, and then you tip the powder over, and then you can add a bit more water if you want to, if you don't feel like the powder's got into the detailed pattern enough. And then whilst the stencil is still wet, you pick it up and you flip it over onto another piece of card and you get this look. So you get 2 out of 1 use of the powders. I mean, this is usually my favourite version of it, but if you loaded up your stencil to do this version, you'd be wasting the rest of the powder, so you might as well have a piece of card underneath it and get this one as well, and then get this one too. Yeah, so a really pretty design, really simple, quick and simple cards, and you can see there where that purple is showing through on that blue cardstock, which I thought was really cool, that this is all blue and purple, and then it was showing through on that satin mirror card. I just used a white one on that one too. And then I've added some of the Jewel Drop on there. On this one it's mostly stayed the actual colour of the Jewel Drop, but on this one I added it to the centre of the Snowflakes, and in some places the Jewel Drop has picked up a little bit of the Shimmer Powder colour, so it does alter the colour of it slightly, which is really lovely. And it's also, if you look on that one, that's like half purple, half blue, the way it's picked up the colour in there as well. So that is using the Meteorite Shower Shimmer Powder. Then this one is using the ink pads to create a cool background. This is some of the doodly journaling stamps that Tonic brought out, and that's obviously the 3 different colours of the ink pads. And then for the centrepiece of this one, this is the centre of the Scribble Hearts, the larger Scribble Hearts die, and that's like the little wonky heart that comes out of it. It's the waste from another card that I'd done. And then I cut the glitter card with that really fine Congrats sentiment strip die, and you can see how well the glitter card cuts with that such a fine die. Then I'd used the ballerina texture cardstock on as the heart, and I added a bit of mousse to that, and you can see it picks out the texture really nicely. I used the metallic Nouveau Drop to do the tiny dots around the edge of the heart, and then I used the glittery Nouveau Drops to decorate the rest. And that splatter in the background is actually some of the Meteorite Shower Nouveau powder. I just watered some down and then splattered it onto the card as well. So that is using a few different parts of the Nouveau range. Then I'll show you this one. This was using the embossing powder, the Duchess Blue, and then I watercoloured them in with the Aqua Flow pens, and I also, whilst this was still wet, I dripped in some of the, is it Midnight Blue? Midnight Horizon Mica Mist. I used that pipette and I dropped some of it into the centre of the flowers to give a sort of mica-y effect to it, and I also watered down some of that Mica Mist and swirled it around the heat embossed bubbly images. And these stamps are from the largest stamp set from the Doodle Diary bullet journaling kind of stamps that Tonic brought out. And this is the darkest blue ink pad, and I've used it 1st generation and 2nd generation for the happy birthday in the background. The splattering is the pink Mica Mist. I just took some of that out and splattered it on. And the Nouveau Drops are the metallic pink ones as well. So that's how I did that card. Then I'll show you this one next. This one I think is my favourite. This is where I'd use the actual scribble frame of the heart, and I stacked 3 of them up, so I had 3 of the inside heart, which is why I used it on that other card. But the background on this one, I used the 3 alcohol pens, the glitter marker, and the Nouveau mousse, and the embossing powder as well, the pink embossing powder. So I first of all started with the alcohol pens, and I did some stripes going this way, turning the chisel on the thin side and the fat side and using all 3 colours. And then I brought some of the lines the opposite way to give us a kind of plaid look. Then I emphasised the plaid using the pink glitter marker. As you can see, those lines are darker. Then I took out some of the poppy pink Nouveau mousse and watered it down, and then used it with a paintbrush to paint it on, and you can see how subtle that pink is as well. Really, really lovely pale pink, and you can see the glitter from the Nouveau glitter marker in there as well. It just gives a really cool effect to the background because that the Nouveau mousse layers over the alcohol pens really nicely, and the glitter marker gives that darker contrast, and the Nouveau mousse gives that lighter look as well. And then once it was all dry, I took one of these older stamps from Tonic. It's like a Perfect Moments or something like that. It's quite an old one, so I'm not sure if you can find it anymore, but it's one of my favourites. And I just stamped that like 3 times across the card and heat embossed that with the pink. And then for the sentiment, I shadowed it with the pink pearlescent behind the white, and then I used the pink glitter drops to embellish, and the splats in the background are actually the embellishment mousse as well. So I just obviously had it watered down for doing the stripes, and I just splattered some more on the background. Yeah, so really really modern, trendy kind of a card, I think. I really love this one. I think it's my favourite out of all the ones that I did. And then the final two that I've got to show you are using that cool technique that I was telling you about, using the glimmer paste or the glitter accents. So for this one, I used the glimmer paste, the pink confetti, and one of the pink aqua flows. And for this one, I used the glitter accents, the blue heart confetti, and the blue aqua flow. And what you do is you take your Easy Clean mat, just this white one. This one came with the Tim Holtz cutting mat, and you splodge out some of the either the glimmer paste or the glitter accents, and just splodge some few bits of it onto your Easy Clean mat. Then you want to squirt on a few drops out of your aqua flows. Oh, and I also used the Mica Mists as well. I used the pipette and took some of the Mica Mists out, obviously the corresponding ones for the different colours, and then I sprinkled on some of the confetti. And then what I did was take my palette knife, mix it all together and make what looked like a right mess with a load of confetti stuck into glittery stuff, and then I just squished my card into it. And this one you can see a bit of motion because I twisted the card as I squished it into it, and then you pull it off, see if you've got enough coverage on it, poke it back in different places, just like the wrinkle-free distress technique as well. And then you can see here where the glimmer paste or the glitter accent was, obviously it's got glue in it, so it kind of leaves different areas. And so once it was dry, there was some white card left showing through. So I just came back in with the aqua flow and painted in those areas. So it gives like a cool distressed look, because obviously where the glue was, the aqua flow is going to resist, so you just get it in the little sort of scratchy areas. And I did it around the edge of the blue one as well. I just thought it was a really cool technique, and another way of using your confetti, because they're not going to fall out because they're stuck in the glue from the glitter paste. So yeah, I just thought it was a really cool technique, so I thought I would share those as well. And obviously I couldn't pick between doing a pink one or a blue one, so I did both. Yeah, but they both work really, really nicely. And this one I actually used the Gloss Blue Nouveau Drop, and I put them on, and then I did my swirl of white Nouveau Drop in the centre of them to make them look a bit more interesting and match the white sentiment and the white border as well. So yeah, that is all the loads of samples that I did with all of the Blue Blossom collection from Nuvo and Craft Perfect. I think that was all of them. I haven't got another one hidden somewhere. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this unboxing of all of the brand new Blue Blossom collection. I just think while I have it and I have samples and stuff, I might as well show it to you up close so you can kind of see it better than if you were looking on a website and trying to decide if you wanted it or not. So I hope it's helpful. I just think, like, if I was thinking about buying it, I would want to watch a kind of video like this for me to decide if I wanted it or not, and like the uses that you can use things for and stuff. So yeah, I really hope you do find them useful, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!